All right, hello and welcome everybody to this week's episode of Two Trolls and a Brew. My name is Samus. His name is Travis. This is a what?
Hi.
Episode 132? 132, I think. A Disappointment is the title of this week's show. We'll get into exactly why it's so disappointing this week, but subtitle Parenthood. I'm not exactly sure how those two things go together, but I imagine Travis has got some unfortunate news for us, and now he's disappointed because now he's going to parenthood. Do you have a baby on the way?
No,
Is that what you're telling me?
I'm just saying. I'm just saying in general, being a parent's got to be disappointing.
Life is full of disappointment, my friend. Life is full of disappointment.
Like your kid does something, you're like, I'm not mad at you. I'm just disappointed.
Oh, my son gets so mad when you say you're disappointed at him. That's like the worst thing you could say. He gets furious. He's like,
You're a lazy piece of crap. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I'm so disappointed. What? How
He's like,
dare you?
He's like flipping the table and he's like kicking things. Like, I just do what you asked me to do. You fat piece of S. My kid's so straight edge, he would never call me a piece of S. Never. We have a semi-exciting show for you this week. We have a couple of decks. We have a deck via a user-submitted deck again for the first time in a while. We're going to talk about the, what is it called? The Silver Showcase. And, yeah, I don't know. We'll see where else the show goes from there. But we have one troll card this week. Repeating Barrage. I don't remember if we talked about this last week or not, Travis. But it's a sorcery. It's a sorcery from Ixalan. Red, and 1. Deal 3 damage to target creature or player. Which now, of course, is errata to say any target. And it has Raid 5. 3 red and red. Return Barrage from your graveyard to your hand. So I spent a lot of time and energy working on my sweet red-white life gain deck that we've been talking about for a little while. I went ahead and I finalized the deck list. I think I sent you pictures.
Yeah.
And I have the deck list up on the screen, and I'll put it in the show notes. But I ended up adding 1 Repeating Barrage to the list. And even though I only have 3 creatures in the deck, I figured with Karn constructs and that creature, I would be able to get the occasional value out of it. And if I just got 1 trigger and was able to get it back against the control deck, it was worth it. So I don't actually know if it will be worth it, but that was, it did do a little bit of work on the 1 match of Magic I got to play this weekend, because the neighboring town, McPherson, scheduled their PPTQ on Champs Weekend. So you know what I have to say to them?
On what weekend?
Champs Weekend. So last weekend was the store championship weekend.
Oh.
Like one of the events that I personally think Wizards got right. Moving game day from right after the Pro Tour essentially to the end of the season as like a capstone to say goodbye to a format, I think was really cool.
I still think you're doing it wrong.
What?
Because we got the Nicol Bolas mat.
For Champs?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's supposed to be Teferi this time.
Well, no, because we got that, and we got the new demon.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what it was, to be honest. I believe it was Teferi. Was the champ playmat. But
Did you ask anybody at the arena?
I would have had we had enough people to even fire the event. But instead, I was there by myself, and Bilal showed up about an hour later, and that was it. It was the 2 of us. Everyone else decided to go to try their luck at the McPherson PPTQ, of which one of our guys top 8'd, No, I take that back. I don't think anyone top 8'd. One of our guys had a chance to top 8. If I remember correctly. Hunter, again, has been on the show. He was playing an individual, and they had gone to time and rounds, and he was like on evens, and he put his opponent to dead next turn. So like if he had one more round or one more attack step, he would have won. And he asked his opponent, he's like, "Hey man, look, if we both, oh, there goes green face Travis. If we both draw, we both get 7 points, and neither one of us gets into the top 8." And the guy's like, "Yep, that's gonna suck for us." Like he admitted to being dead next turn, but refused to give the concession. So, and if I know this particular player, and I do, I have the feeling that this player played soppily and took a bunch of extra time, and actually probably drew the match out some. Because I know who this player is that he encountered, so I have the feeling that was definitely the case.
And he's done it before?
Oh yeah, he's definitely done it before. This is the same player who, at a couple of PPTQs ago at the arena, I don't know if I told this story on air, but he was playing like this band list, and his opponent was playing a control deck, and the opponent passes the turn, and he sits there and thinks and thinks and thinks for so long, right? And like I'm trying to remember exactly what happened, but essentially he goes, "All right, well, at the end of your turn, I want to do this." And the guy's like, "You already moved into your turn. Like, you already..." I don't know. Apparently the guy sat there for so long, he lost completely track of where the turn was, and basically time walked himself the whole turn. Essentially is what happened. He's like, oh no, he wanted to do something at the guy's upkeep. That's what he wanted to do. Like, he sat there forever and wanted to do something on the guy's upkeep. And the guy's like, okay. And then he was like, my turn or whatever. And the guy's like, no, like, you literally went to my upkeep or something. Like, you skipped your whole turn. I don't know. It was crazy. But the guy sat there for like 10 minutes. Completely silent, not knowing what's going on. So I know this guy does weird stuff like that.
See, after like a minute, maybe two, I would just like
call for slow play.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, I said, and if you sit there and you get lost in the turn order, like, you don't know what's going on because you just like space out or zone out or whatever. Like, that's on you.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Anyway, so I was really disappointed that we didn't get a fire off the championship tournament, because again, that's one of my favorite tournaments each season. Like, the PPTQs or whatever, I don't really care at the end of the day. But I like the idea of the store locals playing at the store for bragging rights at the store. You know, like, to me, that makes a lot of sense. The last two tournaments in a row, it's Jackie and I in the finals. And I end up losing because of weird series of top decks. And I was prepared to reclaim my status. And we didn't even have a tournament. Like, I could have automatically won. I was the only person there, right?
I would have fired it.
Be like, all right, so Chris, I know you're working the shop today, but you're in the tournament. Todd, I know you're working the shop, you're in the tournament. Like, trying to get 8 people to... No. I was just...
You could have signed me up.
I could have signed Travis up. Remington was working. I could have signed him up. Like, look at all these people. Fun. Look at all these people who didn't show. Champ. No, that would have sucked. That'd have been almost as bad as not having the tournament. So, yeah, I don't know. I irritated at the other store for even holding a tournament that weekend that wasn't their championship tournament. So anyway, this red-white control deck, I think this is where I'm going to keep it together for a couple more tournaments here, see how it plays. But for the record, the final count is 3 Fire Song and Sun Speakers, 2 Chandras, 4 Karns, 4 Braids, 3 Fight with Fire, 1 Repeating Barrage, 3 Sweltering Suns, 2 Hour Devastations, 2 Star of Extinction, 1 Approach of the Second Sun, 2 Azor's Gateway, 4 Treasure Maps, 2 Primal Amulets, 3 Seal Away, and then a variety of lands. And then I made the sideboard kind of like we talked about last week. Basically full of creatures. So 2 Carry Zev, 2 Captain Lannery Storm, 2 Hezerits. Then I added in a Watley Warrior Poet, because its 0 ability makes creatures. Let's see. Did I already say the second Repeating Barrage? I did? Okay. A second Approach the Second Sun. And then a card that I really wanted to try, 4 Dire Fleet Daredevils.
That's Red Bob, right?
Yeah. Well, Red
Mage.
Snapcaster. Red Snapcaster. So the reason I thought it would be really solid is if they take out all their creature removal spells against the control decks, what they're going to end up doing is filling up their sideboard with like divination-esque spells. So what's the one you get 2 energy, you scry 2, and then you draw 2?
Glimmer of Genius.
Yeah. So like Glimmer of Genius is the most common card played against me out of like the different blue X control decks to try to get advantage and get going. Where if they glimmer relatively early, and then I can slap this guy down and glimmer back, then that keeps us at parity pretty easily. Plus I have a 2/1. And it keeps them from getting a free one for 6 mana if they just like drop their blue Gearhulk. Fat caster mage, I guess is what they call him sometimes. So I don't know. I thought it was really good. And to be fair, the only games that we sideboarded, I had 2. Both games, my opponent made me discard him to like Duress-esque effects.
Yeah.
Because they were like, well, I don't want you to duress me back. You know, not duress, but whatever. I don't want you to hit me back. So I'm like, okay. Also, I think I've come around on Star of Extinction. This is just a good card.
How much life has it gained you?
I think the only time it gained me life, it only gained me like 40.
Oh, poor guy.
But what was actually
life? It sucks.
what happened more often was my Bilal was playing like a red black control deck with planeswalkers. So like Liliana, the black red pirate guy, the Minotaur guy, and then of course Chandra. So there was a couple of situations where he had a couple of active planeswalkers that I just didn't have another way to threaten at the moment. So I was able to put him down to like 1 or 0 black sources in his deck and kill his planeswalkers. And that basically turned the tide in such a way that there was no way for him to turn around and win. So yeah, Star of Extinction, pretty good. Primal Amulet did some work, lowering the cost of stuff and just basically making things affordable. I never got the ability to flip it because, again, as soon as it got like 1 or 2 counters on it, Bilal was just like, I can't let that flip over, and abraded it. So, and then at the last moment, I added 1 approach of the Second Sun, basically to fight the other control deck, and it actually ended up winning the first game that I played. Like, it just randomly was in my hand, and with Primal Amulet, I was able to play it a turn early, and then I was able to Chandra / Karn my way to it again, and just play it just like boop. So yeah, overall, I thought the deck worked out really well. It would have been nice to have, some more decks to play against, but maybe not this weekend, because hopefully this weekend will be Frontier. I'm hoping the Frontier Friday Night Magic fires. I know, make your motion. I feel the same way whenever someone's like, "Oh, I want to play Modern." Just like, whatever.
It's a better format.
Yeah, there's no such thing as a better format. All the formats are equally bad except for Draft.
Acceptable.
Like there's Draft and then there's everything else. So,
I'll accept that.
I just want to be able to play my sweet Yisan deck a couple more times, and God knows it won't make it in Modern. So, yeah, that's how it is. So let's get back into the thing that we were talking about before the stream. Like, I was trying to catch Travis up on this Silver Showcase Finasco that's going on right now. So basically,
Did you say Finasco?
Finasco. Is that not how you say it?
No, that is not how you say fiasco.
Yeah, Finasco.
Closer.
Finasco. So, in DDO, right? We got they introduced this thing called Visconti Knife Fighter Tree, because we're in Ravenloft. They just introduced the Ravenloft pack in DDO. So I keep calling it Vishanti just to irritate a couple of people in the chat. I'm like, I'm going on a sea Vishanti. I'm gonna stab all these guys. And they just get so mad. Trolling your viewers, that's the key. Anyway, so this Finasco, basically, WotC has like this really huge 8-person invitational tournament where they're going to end up doing like this awesome Rochester draft situation with like beta packs, antiquities, legends, Arabian Nights, etc. And they have this huge prize pool. I think it's 150K that they're gonna pull down to people. So basically, just showing up, getting the invitation to this thing probably made you like 10K. Would be my assumption, just like hands down, because they're gonna go off of your final standings or whatever. So even if you were last place, you're probably walking away with 10K.
And it's 150 total.
Yeah, 150 total.
For 8 people.
For 8 people. Look at Travis's eye rolls. And then they're going to take the singles that they open, and instead of keeping those, they're going to auction those cards off for charity. Is how I understand it.
Yep.
So basically, they're going to be playing this, and they've already handed out the people they're inviting. So, of course, if you want to go read everything at the Wizard site, you can check it out. But I'm just going to scroll through it while Travis makes some comments here.
Well, I was just going to say, why didn't they, if it was going to be such a huge event, why didn't they just go like, okay, we're doing a 25K event, and we're donating 125K to charity, but also you get to keep whatever you open.
Yeah, I don't know how they came to certain conclusions, to be really honest. And okay, so here's the prize breakdown. Actually, I just found it. So 5th through 8th place is going to get $12,500. So you already made $12,000 just for being selected to be one of these 8 people playing. 3rd and 4th get 20, 2nd gets 25, and 1st place gets $35,000. Which, that's not that big of a deal. But the big deal is, in my opinion, is that all the cards are going to be donated to Child's Play to be auctioned off. Right? And of course, it's going to be streamed during as a special pre-Pro Tour broadcast, is what it says. Now, I don't know. Did you watch the beta draft from Las Vegas?
Nope.
Like, that was huge. That was probably the best part of the GP, in my opinion. And like, it was seriously hyped. People really loved it. So I think that's probably why they decided to do this. And why exactly they picked these 8 players, some of them I'm not real sure, and some of them I'm just like really confused about. So I really haven't had my huge thumb on the pulse of Magic lately, like their decisions and the new changes coming and stuff. But I do follow, a lot of the Magic pros that I like, and other Magic content providers that I think are entertaining and valuable, like Saffron Olive, and a few others. And I just was like looking at some of these comments, and they have some really legitimate concerns now that they pointed them out. So I was talking to Travis. It's like Olive sums it up really well. Essentially, it's some of the best Magic players of all time against a bunch of Hearthstone streamers. Like, half of these people not really gave up Magic, but they like kind of gave up Magic to go play Hearthstone and stream it. Like Brian Kibler. Yeah, I think he still goes to Pro Tours, but I haven't seen him stream anything but Hearthstone in like a year.
Because Hearthstone gets more views than Magic.
Well, not just that, but their tournaments actually pay their players. Like, Hearthstone has good prizes.
All digital.
But Blizzard has done this really amazing thing with Hearthstone, and it's started a whole real revolution of, I'm trying to get my correct word here, of style of play. Right? Like, this whole, the Hearthstone, Eternal, what's that other game that my son, something Spire, Citadel Spire, the Magic Arena style, like all these different variations of it are starting to come out because of the play style and the interaction and how it works, especially with like your cell phone. And it just, in the digital age, it makes a lot more sense to be moving this direction. And then also,
don't call it the Magic Arena style, because it's the Hearthstone style. Magic stole that.
Well, it's exactly what I'm saying. Like, Hearthstone kicked off that style.
Yeah.
And I was still listing games that had moved into that style when I, was summing it up. But, like, that's just it. Like, that kind of gameplay essentially has taken over the digital collectible card game market. And it makes a lot of sense in one hand, because, like, with the digital devices, the mechanics need to change. But with Magic being a paper game first and foremost, it can never develop in such a way to do the same kind of things that you can do on a digital platform. Like, you can never make a token that when it bounces, like, gets returned to your hand, it becomes a card in your hand. Like, you can only do that in a digital format. Or I suppose there's some weird way that you could make a token that says do this, and instead of dying, but like you can't. They would have to have some really weird rules to manifest that way. But yeah, Hearthstone did some things, and then they also pay people really well for their digital competitions. You know, Hearthstone, HOTS, Overwatch. Like, these are some of the biggest games in the digital arena. What am I trying to... I'm looking for a word here. Like, I don't want to say digital Olympics, but essentially that's what it is. Like,
digital playground?
Yeah, kind of. Like, they're the biggest competitive formats out there. People...
I wouldn't say HOTS is.
Oh, when it comes to, like, payouts and stuff? Like, oh, yeah. Like...
How much do they give each team?
Ooh, they give a big paycheck.
How big?
I want to say they had $1 million-ish pool for their last tournament that they did.
Shit.
I mean, I don't want to like say the exact. They have one going on right now. Heroes of the something, and I haven't been paying total attention to it. But yeah, I think it's a really, really big pool. But Blizzard's got that WoW money, yo. Oh, there's one other thing I want to talk to you about. Let me throw this in the show notes real fast. What I'm thinking about. The Magic Aids guy. I don't know if you heard about this. Probably not, because you're off all the social media.
You said Magic Gate?
Magic Aids.
AIDS, as in
AIDS.
Like AIDS?
Mm-hmm.
As in like help or the disease?
What would you think?
Well, if I see it in writing and it's all capital, then the disease. But if it's
not all capital, just A is
it's
capitalized.
So it's Magic Help.
Well, not anymore.
Like
now it's Magic Rainbows. Anyway,
what?
We'll get to it in a second. This guy, I've been watching a lot of his videos recently since this thing that happened last weekend, and I actually really started liking. Let's see. Gabby Sparks has a comment here about I think Watsy's intentions are good, but it's demotivational and frustrating to players who devote their lives to this game. Again, comparing it to Hearthstone. Martin Juza, I think is how you say, says, good to know the only way to qualify for the super hyped 150k tournament would have been to quit Magic 2 years ago and start to streaming Hearthstone. So, like, yeah, there's a lot of... And, I mean, just the time that we talked about it, 22 more tweets using Silver Showcase.
Is it all disgruntled?
I mean, I haven't read through every one of them, but yeah, it looks like a lot of them are pretty disgruntled. Evan Irwin says this is brutal. Yeah, I don't know. It's a lot of angry people right now. So what was you and we were talking and you started like down this path. And I said, whoa, save it for the show. So what are your thoughts?
So, like, overall, my thoughts are, besides how I already stated, the charity thing should go the other way, where the most of the money goes to the charity and not the cards, because, well, let's face it, you could just pull garbage and end up with like 3,000 to charity.
No, hang on. That seems really unlikely. With three,
I know, but
with three beta boosters, Arabian Nights, Forgotten.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying, like
it is a possibility.
Have a higher chance. You're gonna have a higher chance of just giving the 100,000 away, and then the individual people can, do what they want with the cards that they get.
What if WotC has taken that into account and they have loaded the packs, as it were.
Well, I mean, if they've loaded the packs and they figured out the print run, like, you know,
Well, I
in
don't
the
know if
older
you.
pack.
I'm gonna say I don't know if you remember, but beta packs you used to be able to like move cards and
Map 'em.
see what the rare was.
Well, I know that you can map the old packs too.
Sure, and maybe
So
they have some that are already mapped.
like if they've mapped the packs and then they've loaded it so that way the players get like these insane pulls or whatever, then that's just going to be suspicious for everybody who's like watching and be like, okay, that how is that possible? But and then if they're just doing a fair draft, then the variance level on that is just wrong.
Yeah.
Because like even like the old like beta packs, they can get like what, two or three basic lands in it.
Yeah, but those basic lands are like $20 a piece, which why not $50,000? But it's still very good. But yeah, you could get like I think they said between 1 and 4, including the rare slot, I believe. But like
Yeah,
even the bad beta cards are still pretty high.
yeah, but still, I'd much rather have a guaranteed 100K go to charity than, all right, well, this pack's only worth, however much you said, up to 4 basic lands.
Right. There could be
So,
up to
so
four
that's,
basic lands, including the rare slot, if I remember correctly.
yeah, so that's just stupid to me. Like, just have the guaranteed 100K go to charity. Um, but as far as the players are concerned, if they don't play Magic anymore, then they moved on. Like, they moved on from the game. Put people who are still in the game, who are still grinding, who still make content for Magic, be the big draw for the views. Like, to me that's just kind of like a kick in the face for people who actually do grind. Like, I don't grind, so I just kind of show up, I play, if I win, cool, if not, whatever. But like, for people who go to like multiple GPs every year, who go to pro tours, like who do all of the things to become like pro level, and you're just kind of like, that dude hasn't done anything in 2 years for Magic. Let's put him in there. That's just like kicking someone in the face for all the work that they do for your game.
See, and on the flip side, I agree that you're what you're saying. Like, it makes a lot of sense that way. But on the flip side, at the same time, I'm just like, I also understand the idea of taking Magic players that are still like Brian Kibler, even though he's a Hearthstone player, he still goes to the Pro Tours. Like, he's got his Hall of Fame invite, so he still goes to every Pro Tour, I think, or most Pro Tours. I can't be sure about everyone, but most of them. And I know, like, our friend Sean ran into him at GP Las Vegas. So, like, he's still doing Magic stuff, but he's no longer making... Like, I used to really love his Magic videos because he was always into, like, the zoo and the getting aggressive. Which, right then at that particular time, I was really into getting aggressive. Trying to strengthen my aggro game. And when he kind of switched into Hearthstone full time, I kind of lost track of him because he wasn't making the content that I cared about anymore.
Right.
But I still see him once in a while. I may or may not follow him on Twitter still. Maybe I do. I don't remember.
So before I deleted my Twitter, like, the majority of the things that he tweets were things about his dog, things about League of Legends, and Hearthstone.
Yeah, probably. To be fair, though, that dog is like one of the most famous dogs in card game history. I don't know why, but yeah, I agree with that sentiment, but at the same time, like, if you're trying to tap into the other hundreds of thousands of digital CCG players that are the Hearthstone community and be like, hey guys, check out the fact that we have like this other digital thing, and get those guys talking about this upcoming Magic tournament they're going to, and maybe they have to do some preparation. They have to do some prep work for this tournament, and maybe they do some of that online, on stream, and then they get some of these Hearthstone players interested. Like, dropping $150K on that level of advertising just makes sense. Right? Like, you're not going to get that same appeal or that same advertising with, like, a TV ad. Right? Or even a YouTube ad campaign. Like, they're just not going to get that same amount of bang for the buck. And I would be really surprised if part of taking the accepting this invitation is some amount of talking about Magic on your stream. Because I'm pretty sure they all... Well, I don't know about Raphael Leve, to be honest. But I'm pretty sure the rest of these guys stream relatively regularly. Like, I know that... or make some sort of content. Like, I know... man, I'm looking right at his face. John Finkel, I know he still does stuff. He also does the occasional stuff for Channel Fireball, but I think he's mostly streaming stuff. I know that Paulo Victor Damaderosa, he still does a lot of stuff for Channel Fireball. So, like, I imagine part of the deal is, for accepting the invitation, is to do some amount of advertising on their content for it. Which is part of the reason why probably the prize pool for 5th through 8th is so high. Like, they're also buying some advertising with this, so it kind of makes sense to me that that's the way that they're incentivizing these people to advertise for them. But at the same time, like, you're getting what, probably a month of advertising for 15 or for 12K. You could probably spread that around. Like, if somebody gave me 12K to advertise, that'd be like 2 years of advertising on this stream. Probably longer.
Honestly, if someone gave me 12K to advertise, I'd do it for a full year and go down to part-time at my job, because I don't care about money.
Speaking of money, if you would like to support this stream, jump over to the Twitch page, twitch.tv/SamusGarobo, and like, subscribe, follow, throw some bits over there. That'd be great. That'd be real great. Because unlike Travis, I do care about getting enough money to live.
I have enough money to live.
Yeah, I don't have enough money to live right now. My student loans turn back on next month. So, that's the scary. That's the scary. Let's take a look at Nathan's deck, shall we?
Yes.
Nathan sent in this mono white list. Pretty sure it's still mono white. Yeah, mono white list. And he sent, the title that he sent me was like White Knights, but I was like, is mono Knights good enough in standard or something? So we have Dauntless Bodyguard, the Savannah Lion that can sacrifice to protect a thing, right? Knight of Grace, Hexproof from black, potentially 3/2 first strike for 2 mana, pretty good. Banish Marshall. I actually got to draft this thing last week, I think. Was very good for me. Very, very good for me. 3 mana, 3/3 that Glorious Anthem's your team. Kinwade, Pride of Bimfrith. I don't know how you say this guy. There's too many fancy words here. The double strike. Yeah, whatever. The double strike Human Knight that gives all your first strikers double strike. Also drafted one, was also pretty good. Particularly with like the instant speed, target creature gets first strike spell in red.
Okay.
Yeah, like I dropped a Juggernaut, And then I slapped this guy down, and I attacked with the Juggernaut, and I had the first strike spell, so I gave my Juggernaut double strike. That's some damages. Shaylai, Voice of Plinte. Is that close? Travis just makes this frowny face. So that 3/4 Angel that gives hexproof. Lyra. I'm pretty sure I said Lyra, right? Travis has yelled at me enough about Lyra.
Definitely said that right.
Three Gideons of the Trials, 2 Karns, 3 Sealaways, 4 History of Benalia, 3 Radiant Destinies, 3 Castouts, an Ixalan's Binding, and then the 3 of the card that I told him he needed to add. 3 Helm of the Host.
Yes.
So he sent me the original list that he had 0 Helm of the Host in it, and the only comment was, you need at least 2 Helm of the Hosts. And he's like, why, so you can get time walked? I'm like, no, so you can have infinite Gideons. And he's like, you mean get time walked? And I'm like, and so I went and I looked up a video of Olive playing the Helm of the Host deck that he was playing probably a month ago now. And I like screenshotted one where he had all that Gideons together, and I sent him a picture. I'm like, this could be you. And he's like, fine.
Fine, I'll go have some fun. Whatever.
That's right. Damn it. This sucks. All the fun I'm having. Looks like he's got some green splash for probably to be able to activate the Shaylai. Yeah, I don't see any green cards in the sideboard.
No, the green is for Shaylai's.
Yeah, that's what I said. That's what I said.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's the only thing that the green is for.
Shillelagh.
Yeah, Shillelagh.
Pull out my Shillelagh and play you a little tune.
Whack.
Of all my gives get +1/+1. But yeah, I don't know. I think this is a good place to start for something like this. And I think it's a good place for Helm of the Host. It would be nice if we had that 1 mana go tutor and equipment up spell. Raid the Vault, is that what it was called?
Okay.
But yeah. It would be nice if there's something like that so you could toolbox this a little bit more. But I think this is the bee's knees. Feel some time for a second. Never mind. Good job. Way to fill time.
I'm still looking for a foil Helm of the Host so I can put it in Baborgamos.
Okay.
Even though I don't play Commander anymore, I still want it.
Is that marbles?
You need more time still?
No, you're good. You're good. So,
God, I don't know what to talk about.
I don't know. The only card that really kind of strikes me as odd is the 3 Radiant Destinies. I realize that it's very good. But it seems like with the 3 Destinies and the 4 Marshals, you have enough of that effect that you could go down to like 2 or even 1 Destiny. And the problem is I'm not sure where you go up. I feel like you need more creatures. But History is basically a creature too, so you have 22 creatures. Karn is basically a creature.
Karn is basically 2 creatures.
Yeah, the problem is Karn. The Karn creatures are not very big. Because he just doesn't have that many artifacts already.
Karn is a micro factor fiction.
He is. I really like Karn. Karn is really... I want to say got me Randy, but it is very much a Magic the Gathering card that I have fallen for pretty hard. I'm glad I picked mine up before things got expensive. God, I wish I could... there's a card, and it's like on the edge of my brain, that really helps with this, and I want to say something like the Azor's Gateway, maybe, like something to help with the card advantage / filtering kind of situation. You know what I mean? Something in that nature to just like get things out of the way when you don't need them. I'm not sure exactly if you want that card or if you want like treasure maps or if there's something that does it better in white. But I feel like there's something in there that you want to give just a little bit more card advantage. And of course the other big problem is what happens if you just like get ran into multiple Wraths? Like how does this thing beat what I'm doing in that red-white deck? Like tries to go under me? And I'm just like
tries to go quicker, but
and I'm just like still... 3 mana Wrath you, and they're like, but I got my 1/1 +1/+1. Oh, never mind.
Oh yeah, it doesn't help him so.
Yes, and then everything else still dies too. I'm like, oh, I'll slap down this Shayla. And I'm just like, fight with fire, 3 mana Wrath. Oh, boo. So, yeah, I don't... I feel...
She gives all of your stuff...
Everything but herself gets hexproof.
Okay.
And then you clone her with the Helm of the Host, and then everything's got it double hexproof. Because Helm of the Host is broken.
Yep. I enjoy it.
Oh no, is there... Oh! Do you play... the Opal? The Mox? What's the new Mox? Amber Mox?
Amber.
Do you play the Amber Mox in this? Is that what it's needing?
For more white mana?
I was just thinking to accelerate. Because, like, how this deck beats me is to go turn 4 Lyra. After playing, like, the Kinway, or whatever this name is, guy, or Shayla, or drop a Gideon on 3, then play a 5-drop on turn 4. Like, you go Knight of Grace on 2, Gideon, make a, like, prevent damage from something, drop the Amber, Dauntless Bodyguard. Actually, no. So, turn 2 you play the first striker, right? The 2-drop first striker. Turn 3 you drop Gideon, you drop the Amber, you make Gideon a creature, you Dauntless Bodyguard Gideon. Right? Because it doesn't... Once it has what it's pointing at with Dauntless Bodyguard, it doesn't care what permanent type it is anymore. Right? So Gideon can go back to being a Planeswalker, and it can give it indestructible. So then, on turn 4, you drop your 4th land, you tap out, you play Lyra, and you attack with Gideon if you want. Like, that seems good. And then you have the extra mana to drop Helm of the Host and equip a turn earlier. Yeah, maybe that's what it needs. Maybe it needs, like, 2 Mox Ambers. 1 less Radiant Destiny and... I don't know, I feel like 1 more land. 1 less land. Maybe just move all the Ixalan's bindings to the sideboard. I don't know. Anyway. Magic Aids. Let's talk about Magic Aids and let's wrap it up with that. So Magic Aids is a YouTube content provider. And his Magic Online username was Magic with capital M _ AIDS with a capital A. Right?
Lowercase IDS.
Lowercase everything else. Right? And he makes in my opinion, pretty entertaining Magic the Gathering bit content, right? Like, at first I was like, man, this seems kind of odd to like how he does his tempo and pacing and stuff. But then I watched a whole video and it warmed up. Like, I was like, oh, all right, this is... And then I kind of, as he got more into it, I find him to be more funny. Like, he's got that kind of sense of humor that, in my opinion, builds really easily, kind of like us sometimes. And I really started to enjoy his videos. Well, I heard about him because he has a video explaining how basically he went to this tournament at his local game store. It didn't have the people to fire, so he went home, jumped in some tournament on Magic Online, was playing the Magic tournament, got disconnected. Goes back in to log back in, and it tells him that his username and password doesn't match. So, and this was on Saturday. So he puts in a help ticket or whatever you want to call it. Wizards gets back to him sometime Monday telling him that his username has been flagged for violating their terms of conduct or whatever, and he has a ban. So after emailing back and forth with them, they tell him that he can submit a series of new usernames and they will pick one for him. So he kind of goes through the explanation of how he figures out how he's violating the naming convention, and decides that it must be derogatory towards a group of individual because it has the word AIDS in it. Right? Mm-hmm. So he's like, all right, well, I'm going to submit things like magic rainbows and things like that, which is what they picked for him, was magic rainbows. So now his Magic Online name is Magic Rainbows, and his YouTube account continues to be Magic AIDS.
That's perfect.
What's even better is in his newest video, he was playing some like variations of a human-esque deck kind of thing, and he took most of the artwork and changed it to have like rainbows on it, which is something you can do with Magic Online cards, is you can go in and modify your local versions of the cards and then use that artwork in your local versions of the cards. So like a lot of the situations when he was talking about his mulligan decisions were like, but I have a bunch of rainbows, so keep. And then like he was playing other people, and of course if they play that version of the card, it still pulls your local version of the artwork for that card. So he's like, oh no, we're tied on rainbows, or oh no, my opponent's leading in the rainbow race. It was really good. So I don't know, you already said that the first thing that comes to your mind would be like, well, is it meant to be AIDS as in help, or AIDS as in the illness?
The disease, yeah.
And you mathed it out, as it were, very quickly. So basically what we've figured out is that basically the new head of the Wizards Online Digital Department, who's in charge of WotC, apparently must have made some changes and flagged some people, and he's on the list. He's on the list. So he got kicked right out of Magic Online tournament. I don't even know if they reimbursed him for his entry. For that tournament, probably not.
Probably not.
Because from their mind, he violated the policy. So, I don't know. What are your thoughts in general on this?
Well, I mean, so with just in regards to him,
correct. And then we can expand it to others.
Yeah. So in regards to him, he didn't do anything wrong with the name because aid has been a word for how long? And then the acronym has only been a thing since the 80s, maybe 70s,
It's really the
and that's
80s.
all capitalized.
Right,
So
because
it's
it's
like,
an acronym.
right. Well, not all acronyms are all capitalized, but either way. Uh
Well, this one is.
yeah. But like I don't know, as far as him getting like I'm glad that they didn't actually ban him, but forcing him to change his name from something that he's probably had for years now. Like I don't know who he is. Uh but I assume with a name like that he either had to do something really offensive, which the way you're talking about him seems unlikely. Uh he's had to have it for a long time so people know who he is, or he had to associate with somebody they don't like, so they punished him for it.
Yeah, I have the feeling there's might. Well, see, I don't know. I have no idea. I'm just working backwards through his stuff. I suppose it's possible that somebody flagged him on something and reported him, and they put him on a report list. But like that seems kind of harsh
Childish?
to me. Harsh to me. Like maybe
No.
maybe some LGBT Magic player took offense and reported him. I it wouldn't surprise me necessarily. Um, but yeah, so his new video is modern triggered wizards with rainbows. Uh,
Good.
it's great. Hey guys. And it's built around knobbing to double
Oh,
trigger wizard stuff.
yeah.
So it's like humans with like these wizard triggers that does things. It was actually pretty good. I'll try to remember to link this particular. In fact, I'll just put it in the show notes right now, so you guys can go watch it later. But yeah, I found it to be really entertaining. Um, I don't know. I think that somebody over there in Wizards has decided to put some political correct um, force into place, deciding that that's a winning strategy, which I'm not necessarily going to say it's wrong. They are obviously a private company and they can do what they like. And if they want to ban people for naming conventions or whatever, that seems totally fine. But I feel like the way they go about it was incorrect. I feel like if you're going to ban somebody based off of their name, the first thing you do is you send them an email saying, we have reports of you having a name that violates our terms and agreement policy. This is up for review, and you'll hear back from us. Right? So you
Yeah.
get that email. And then a couple days later, after you've been looked at, and then they maybe investigate, maybe they do a Google search for Magic Aids, because if you do Google search Magic Aids, the first thing that pops up is this guy's YouTube channel. And maybe you like watch a YouTube video and go, oh, well, this guy isn't making fun of gay people. This is him. It's
Or
clearly,
people with AIDS.
or people with AIDS. This is clearly them helping people. Okay, we'll let this go. And then they give you a ruling of like, yes, we are going to change, or you're going to get a rename token so you can rename your name. This is unacceptable. Bam, right? We found that your name does violate the things. If you would like to, we're going to give you a rename token. You'll have, so many, like 1 week to change it, and if not, your account will be disabled.
Yeah.
So bam, like there's a process in place. It's very formal. There's no wizards like submit to us 5 or 6 names, and we'll pick the one that we like for you from the list that you've submitted. I just feel like the process was bad, like how they did this whole thing, and I find it super irritating to me because like It's something I used to do for a living, was think through this kind of process, which just tells me that they don't have someone who's thought through this process. And if they haven't thought through a basic process like how do you change somebody's name, then they haven't thought through other processes like as well as they should have, like what happens if the client dies and a tournament drops, like how do you refund that stuff quickly and efficiently. What if there's a problem on a weekend, like it took this guy more than 2 days to get a response from Wizards about it, like that's a process that should have been taken care of. How come there wasn't an automatic email sent out when your account got disabled? Like all these things to me scream a failure to think through problems, which just shows me a short-sightedness in the digital Wizard products, which makes me not want to play Magic Online. Because you know what doesn't change my name willy-nilly? Paper Magic. But just like this guy, I can't seem to get a physical Paper Magic to fire right now because every damn weekend there's a PPTQ. And right now I have people chasing the PPTQ instead of, taking a weekend off to come play a local Magic, which is the one big Magic tournament a season locally that's not a PPTQ for these guys. And they're not there.
Have you told them that their dreams are garbage?
I try to be a very supportive community leader for my Magic the Gathering people. However,
right.
they all know that they're bad and they should feel bad, and they are bad. That's
good.
That's not true. They're all great guys. And they all could run hot any particular day and do really well. Just not on my Champs weekend. Not on Champs weekend. I need you guys here to get beaten by me so I can feel good about myself. Because I won't travel to a PPTQ.
Mainly because if you win, you won't travel to the RPTQ. And if you win that, you definitely won't travel to the PT.
I would go to a PT. But yeah, driving all the way to Nebraska, because that's like the closest, or going to Denver for the closest RP, that seems crazy.
Not for you.
Although on the flip side, it's only like $100 to fly from Salina to Denver, and I could stay with Tobrel. The problem is the RPTQs in Denver are like, I don't know, a whole nother level.
Also, the RPTQ for Pro Tour Atlanta, I think the closest one is Minneapolis.
I don't know. I have no idea where they are. That seems far away.
And that's the closest one to me.
Oh, man. So how many hour drive is that for you? 11D?
8.
Yeah, no, I would commit Harry Carey at that point.
Well, okay, it says 9, but I think I can make it in like 7.5, 8.
I believe that I can get there quicker than that.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of...
If you go the speed limit...
Which I always do. I'm a stickler
always,
for
all
that.
the time.
I pretty much do, yeah.
I always have my driver's license, too.
I don't have that. Because I don't remember where my wallet is most of the time. But I'm white.
I don't even know where my driver's license is.
I'm white, and I know my driver's license ID. So, I'm also respectful. I say yes sir, no sir to police officers. I don't care what gender they are. And when they give me my ticket, I say thank you very much, and I leave. And then I call the next day, and I'm like, are you sure I have to have this ticket? And they're like, you know what? You were so polite. We'll just rip it up.
Don't you mean Paul White?
That's right, Paul White.
Paul White.
Speaking of being Paul White, if you would like to check out this and all past episodes of the podcast, samusgarobo.com. You can also, of course, find us on iTunes, MTG Cast, and all places that you can find awesome podcasts. You can send us an email just like Nathan, the number 2 trollsbrew@gmail.com. You can check out the Twitch page, twitch.tv/SamusGarobo. It's a great place to go to support the stream. A few bits a day keeps the advertisers away. Yeah. So, if you enjoy the stream, please take an opportunity to jump over there and hit that like and subscribe, follow, whatever button. Of course, you can also check me out now on Twitter, twitter.com/SamusGrow. Well, there is no Travis. Travis has once again decided his will is not strong enough to overcome social media, and we're gonna cut everything off. I think you need some sort of social media drip. The next thing you know, you're gonna tell me like, "Oh, I started ranting off on Reddit, man."
I think the first time I post on Reddit, I'll just delete it.
Oh my goodness. I don't know, Travis. Maybe you just need to record some YouTube rants just with your phone and post them either on like a Two Trolls YouTube channel or on my YouTube channel under Travis. And just like do that. I think you need some way to rant at people that are not directly in your proximity, or you're going to be like a proximity mine. You're just going to go off every time you take a step.
Well, I guess that'll suck for everyone else.
Well, that's probably true.
I don't mind yelling at people.
You don't mind yelling at people?
No.
Oh my. I hate yelling at people.
Like
Makes my throat
most people
hurts.
think, like, the majority of people I know think that I look intimidating. So
You do try. I think on some level, you try to be intimidating until details come out. So like, you look at Travis and you're like, oh man, he's got a shaved head, he's got a big beard, he wears all these wife beaters all the time, he's got a bunch of tattoos. Like, I'm gonna walk on the other side of the street. And then you get closer to Travis and you put a critical eye on him. He's like, are those cartoon tattoos on him? Like, what the heck is going on? Does his
those cartoon tattoos? Is he wearing a shirt that says "I love cats"? What is
like,
this guy?
What kind of neo-Nazi is this?
Yeah, exactly.
It's kind of like a picture of a black kitten on it. You're just like, oh man, that's a weird situation. I want to give you like an opportunity to throw out the troll on everybody, but I feel like you're intentionally not doing it. So I don't know how to wrap up the show.
Oh yes, yeah. I just thought you were going to keep going with stuff. So troll on everybody.
All right, troll on everybody.